Thank you so much for joining us. This is Woman360. We hope you're having a fantastic weekend. If not, this should be the start of your fantastic weekend. We are getting into a brand new week. You should be positive, optimistic, and looking forward to making a brand new you for the week. And talking about making a brand new you, I hope you are also still abiding to the COVID-19 measures to keep healthy and make sure that your family and the next person next to you is also healthy. On the program today, exciting things and very informative as usual. We'll be talking issues of, should one get married after divorce? How long should one stay single or a divorcee before the next relationship, before the next marriage, if there should even be a next marriage? We'll also be getting to talk about plus-size models. How is that coming up? The conventional issue, or is it the traditional issue, is having a slim, tall person to be called a model. But plus-size, how does that pan out? We meet Precious, who is arranging these plus-size models as well as the events to make sure that this is happening okay. She's into film and also a beautician. So she's got a colorful life. We'll be talking to her about those. How big an issue are eyebrows when it comes to women? What do they say? What are the trends? We'll be talking eyebrows as well on the program. So stay tuned and remember, be part of the conversation by going to our social media platform. We are Woman360 on Facebook. This is Woman360. Thank you so much for joining us. We get straight into it. Our first conversation has to dwell on the issue of divorce and when do you marry again? Do you marry again if it's even necessary? And what are some of the things you should put into consideration as a woman getting into this? I got a gentleman who is on both ends, a traditional marriage counselor, as well as a person who's vested in Christianity and also counsels couples in faith, counseling couples in marriage, in church. Mr. Zulu, how are you?
Oh, fine. Thank you very much, Judy. You're looking great and presentable, no?
Thank you so much. I love the color of your shoe. Oh. I said only a very confident man pulls off a color of a shoe like that.
You're right. I was given as a gift after counseling BJ Ngosa. You know BJ Ngosa, Kalisha Wangoma?
Yes,
I counseled his member in the church, a doctor in Kaoma. And so he says, oh, as a gift plus money, here's the show for you.
Fantastic.
And I said, thank you so much. That was last year in August, September. Greetings to you, one Zambia, one nation, one people.
Amen to that. One Zambia, one nation. So we're talking issues of divorce, then relationship. Should there be another marriage or someone who's been through a divorce? What should be the next step in terms of relationships, marriage? How should they be thinking? Which line should they be thinking in?
Okay. First and foremost, Genesis chapter 2 verse 18 says, it is not good that man should be alone. That was God talking. I will give him a helpmate fit for him, or helpmate fit for him to stay with. That simply means that marriage is very important, and marriage is from God. Now, if you're talking about a woman who is divorced, there is no reason why she should stay away. There is no reason why she should stay without getting married. Now, you need to understand that first and foremost, maybe the reason why she was divorced was because she was young, she rushed into it, or secondly, because the husband was oppressive, or thirdly, because, like in Africa, she had no children, and so they divorced to get a better person who could give her children. And also, you need to understand that for a woman to get single, it's important that she finds somebody who can marry her and get her as husband for herself. Now, you need to understand that a woman has got desires like any other woman. There is no hard and fast rules to say that as long as you're divorced, then you should stay as you are. Take, for example, Jude, if a lady is divorced at 25 years and she's going to die at 80 years, it means she has to stay for 55 years without getting married. No, come on, she needs to get married. And also, the African culture wants a woman to be married. Wants a woman to be married.
But the same African culture, Mr. Zulu, when we're doing a pre-production meeting prior to just, setting up the whole show, some of the views that came up were issues of the African society is so hard on the woman that you are skeptical to get into another marriage to say, whether it was my fault in the first marriage, the second marriage, I'll be looked at to say, oh, I can't give a foot.
No.
So all those dynamics.
Oh, quite all right. These are dynamics that are there because the patriarchal system or the culture men tend to blame the woman, tend to oppress the woman. That's why there's GBV. And for the women themselves, they think that they should not go into marriage because they've been condemned. But you see, a woman as she is, she has to get married. A woman as she is, she has to find a man that can marry. Otherwise, she cannot stay on. Because if she stays on like that, people will blame her. People will complain that she's single and she has got no children because she's staying without a man to marry. But also, you need to understand that the woman has got desires. You need to understand that the woman has got desires to get married. A woman also needs children. A woman needs to be independent. A woman needs a man that can marry her, a man that can stay with. And so there is no way that you can leave her like that. Okay?
So how does she work on those the fears, the overthinking of saying, if I'm going to get into this marriage, how do I make sure, into this relationship, how do I make sure that it works out and I'm not looked at in a certain manner?
Okay, first and foremost,
society?
first and foremost, you must find out what is the reason why they divorced her. Is it the children? Is it because the man was oppressive, or is it because she rushed into it? It was infatuation, meaning strong physical attraction, and also she needs to clear, certain things in her life. If she was careless or she was not ready for that marriage, she needs to know that now that I'm going to a second marriage, I need to be very careful. I need to look at issues perspectively. I need to look at issues objectively and level-headed. And when she gets into marriage with that man, she needs to understand that she should not blame herself. She should not blame the man. She should look at the marriage as the whole new marriage. She must not look.
Then comes in the dynamics of if the man you want to get with has never been married, and you've been married before.
Well, it's okay. The thing is that the man hasn't been married, you've been married before, but you are going in as one couple, as unique couple, as a couple that wants to make your life good and presentable, or present as such. But you see, you should ask yourself, if this man was not married before and I've been married, what are the things that I need to do to help her, to help him love me, to help him appreciate me, to help him, and understand me, what kind of a lady I am. And now you need to understand that women need 6 things to stay on, and the man must look at these things. They need care, they need understanding, they need validation, they need devotion, they need assurance, they need security, and when you care for that, when you go into that and begin to look at the woman like that, you'll be able to understand and be able to help her. But also the woman needs also to understand the man also has got things that he needs in that marriage. Be an old marriage, be a new marriage, but the man needs things like approval, validation. He also needs appreciation, needs admiration. And so when you marry her and you begin to stay together, you need to forget what happened to you. And also you need to look at things from the emotional and spiritual point of view. You need to look at issues from the mental point of view and see that this new marriage that you've gotten is different from the marriage that you had before. Because you find that this man that you are marrying is not mean. You find that this man you're marrying is not abusive. You find that this man you're marrying maybe has got problems that needs to be sorted out, or emotional problem. But again, also you need to look at it from the family. The family might be against you, saying that you were married before, and so you cannot marry again. But if you love each other, truly you need to go together. And so love is most important. You need to forget the bygones and press on together.
It's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Right, yes. Thank you.
All right, Edwin Zulu there, ladies and gentlemen, a marriage counselor, giving us both perspectives, the Christian and as well as the traditional part in regards to moving on as a person who's divorced, as a woman who's divorced. How do you get to another relationship? How do you get to another marriage? What are some of the things that you should be conscious about? You're watching Woman360. Thank you so much for still staying with us. This is Woman360. Interesting messages that are coming through via our social media platform. If you want to get interactive with us, do the same. We are Woman360 on Facebook. Give us your thoughts, comments, and be live with us. We were just talking about how long or what should a female do in terms of when you're divorced, when do you move on to another relationship or another marriage, or should you even do that at all? Mr. Zulu came through with this one. Now we are talking issues of eyebrows. The face is the first thing that a person sees when they meet you. It gives them an impression. But just how important are eyebrows, and what are these trends that keep changing from this time to another time? what causes this and how is that so important for the female. I'm very excited. I have Ornash. He is in studio and he has been dealing with shaping and creating all sorts of eyebrows on people's faces. How are you?
I'm all right, ma'am. How are you?
Fine.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So, Ornash, firstly, the name? Zambian? Or should we be calling immigration?
Well, actually, I'd like to call it Zambian because I formulated it within Zambia and tried to check Google at the time I was creating it, and I found that I was the only one with it.
Okay.
So it was fun.
Ah, nice. So how did this come about?
We had this thing in high school where people have nicknames or AKAs.
Ah, so I was thinking it was coming from the issue of touching people's eyebrows.
Oh,
okay, all right. Now,
So
let's get into eyebrows now.
Yes, ma'am.
How important, firstly, how did you get to this place where you're at? Briefly.
Briefly. I'd call it with an interest of art. Started out with facial grooming, just like trying to groom myself. I'd normally get a blade, put it on a comb, and cut my hair with it. So there was this time some girls found me in the boarding house trying to line up my hair. And then they were like, if you can do that, which means knife way, you can tweeze. So I gave it a try, and through the process, some other girls started talking about eyebrow threading. I heard about a man called Mr. Brows, which is John's Charlie, and how he's making a business out of it. I didn't take time, went to YouTube, checked out what to do. I found a doormat because I didn't know which string to use, pulled the string, and I tried it on myself.
Wow. You tweeze your own eyebrows?
Yes.
Africa, Zambia, a guy threading his eyebrows. People frown on that. Don't you get that a lot? Don't people say,
Definitely. Definitely. And then just the issue of I have eyebrows that seem to be like they're shaped constantly. So there was that issue. But then once I got the gig of how to do it, it was free flow. I let go. I stopped doing my eyebrows. It was on to the ladies. And the first client I had was my sister. She's mostly the one that pushed me.
Ah, great. So let's talk about the process of commercializing it. How has that been?
It's been a fun process. Like seeing something work out, you see it laid on the internet and people talking about it, and you being able to actualize it and it working has been fun. Can I talk about how I started with Facebook?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So there was an issue of trying to market before and after pics. So I had a few images that I had overlaid on Facebook. So the first things I started with were groups. I posted into groups. I ended about, I think, 34 different groups.
Wow.
I'm not sure where I stand now, but within those groups, I'd normally spend like by 18 hours at the end of the day. I'd be seated in my room posting constantly of the images I've done of people. And then it was a slow build up. Eventually, you'd get reactions like up to 70 comments. That was a big start for me.
Wow. Okay. So for like how you started and how your interest has grown, you're talking about YouTube, you're talking about seeing videos and seeing trends.
Yes.
That on its own is a huge research that I'm sure brings very great benefit, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Because when you look at the trends, there was then something that was going around on social media where they were talking about the 90s, the 20s had, 1920s had eyebrows like this, and then it keeps going back. So tell us about the trends of eyebrows.
With the trends towards eyebrows, with this era or this generation, we have people drawing towards more thicker eyebrows. So they don't want that single line where you just scrape off everything or maybe just leave one line. So people, or rather ladies, are drawing towards the more natural look. So with threading, I think even with blades, people are able to achieve that shape. The only problem is they'd prefer threading because
what are the options even? I mean, if I'm a virgin eyebrow, what are my options?
Your options are, you have waxing, you have threading, and you have...
Waxing, the literal waxing, like the one for the...
Yes, there's strips that are specifically created for the surface area. And you also have threading.
So there are 3 options. Okay,
Yes.
all right. And what do eyebrows say about a person? Why do you think they're so important, especially on the female?
On the female.
Do we make a fuss, or they're very important?
I must say they're very important. How should I put this? Even just the excitement most ladies would get out of a proper threading session is It's overwhelming. It's like a facelift. It's like if you were frowning that day and you've had your eyebrows done properly, it's like you brighten up your face, even if you have spots on your face. But once this area is done, it's like a whole weight off of you.
Tell me about your day when you get in. Obviously, without mentioning people, clients and whatnot, just how on a general basis, when you look at the whole week, on a general basis, how's your day?
I'm standing almost all day. I'm standing behind the seat all day, and my client's seated, and yeah, just generally shaping eyebrows, different eyebrows.
Okay. And what happens if I want a particular shape, but my natural eyebrows don't allow that? What then do you do? Because you were talking about how it's an art on its own.
Yes.
Do you then get creative, or there's nothing you can do?
There are certain moments where I try to push it to the limit. When learning how to do threading, I came across microblading. So with microblading, there's a process where you have to do some mapping. So with the same cotton that we use for threading, I'd dip it in some eyeliner and then sketch out the shape that the client wants. So let's say you want something raised, arched, or just streamlined. I'll draw it to that desire, and then you'd have a look at it. If you're satisfied with that, we'll go through with it.
What happens if Judy, the stubborn client, comes in and she just wants a certain pattern? How do you negotiate that through?
If she just wants a
certain pattern or a certain curve that you can't?
That one's really hard to maneuver around with. But where we can make negotiations is where the tint comes in. After you do the tracing and before you do the threading, you do the tracing, and if the client says yes, this is the shape I want, I'll thread through maybe just a few hairs that will allow for me to let the shape sit, and then the tint is what's going to let that shape pop out.
Okay. So getting back to the trends, where do you think the trends are going now?
It's wild. I've seen crazy things online. We've come to things like eyebrow extensions. I also tried out, you know, people put lashes, those single lashes.
Yes.
I saw something where people mount eyebrows. I tried that out.
Mounting eyebrows?
Yes.
Wow.
It was a full eyebrow, but then the issue is how long it lasts. So, and then there's eyebrow wigs, the less wigs. There are people putting less wigs, they scrape off everything and then they just lay it over.
Wow.
So it's a whole lot.
Okay. It's been so nice, and thank you so much for coming with your gadgets as well.
Thank you.
There's so many things you wouldn't think just two single eyebrows can warrant a whole array of things. All right. No, I appreciate you coming through, and good luck with your work.
Thank you too.
All right. Stay with me as I introduce the next guest. Stay with me. Okay. Yes. I've been talking to Ornash. He is in the business of making sure that those eyebrows are on flick and they are on point. He's shared with us trends and what it means to have eyebrows that look the part, as well as you as a person making sure that you are on point with what is on your face. You're watching Woman360. Join me on the other side. Thank you so much for still watching Woman360. Now, there's a very interesting part that we come to. I mean, every girl has dreamed of being a model at some point, regardless whether it's catwalk or maybe it's just a facial model. But this time, Woman360 is talking about plus size models. Very interesting. Precious actually is involved in this contest, and I want her to tell us about them. Precious, how are you? Thank you so much for coming through.
Oh, thank you so much for hosting us.
All right, yes.
Yes,
you're looking
yes.
beautiful, ladies. So tell me, plus size modeling, why? Why arrange these?
Okay, I and my fellow organizers, we just realized that actually these women, plus size people, they're left out in a lot of things, you know. So we thought of bringing it in Zambia as well. If it's there in South Africa, if it's there in India, if it's like in those parts of the world, why not also bring it in Zambia? You know, these women, they've been left out a lot. And people think the world has classified beauty to be a skin type of a person. But I think I just realized that no, it's both ways, whether skin or fat, or sorry to use the word fat, thick.
thick. I wanted to say, but you know, the irony of this, hey, while the rest of the world is defining this beauty as skinny and tall and whatnot,
Yes.
You find the average African man saying he wants a thick woman. So the dynamics there change.
Exactly.
Okay. But how has it been your experience? How has it been with the emotions that go on? How it's been interacting with the models? How has that been for you?
It has been awesome. At some point, it has been emotional because one of our models almost committed suicide.
Oh no.
Yeah, because of the boyfriend started speaking ill about her to an extent of leaving her. You know, he tried to ask her to lose, but she couldn't lose.
And sometimes it's genetic.
Yeah. You know, she tried to do gym here and there. It was failing. She tried, she tried to take the herbs. It failed. So she almost killed suicide.
Wow. All right. You know what?
Serious.
Let's see the ladies do their thing, because there are such stories that make me feel that there are events that go beyond showcasing beauty, showcasing a woman's, it works on a woman's psyche, a woman's confidence, and it helps for even such stories you're talking about, you know.
And
someone's telling you something, and you say, well, look, I can also do this.
And they're also
it boosts your confidence. It helps you with
Exactly.
Yeah.
And let me not forget this. They're also suffering when it comes to gender-based violence, you know. A man will marry you when you're skin, all right? And then when you start, you know, giving children, you start gouging. And then men are now beating them up because they think they're no longer looking beautiful. They'll go elsewhere and start looking for skin type of women. And then like trying to beat them to an extent of maybe some of them are being killed. So this is serious, and we thought, we need it in Zambia.
So the contests are actually answering to all those issues that are coming on, GBV, issues of not having confidence in your own body, all those issues of somebody looking at you in another way and thinking, maybe I just want to be thick. How do you know? You're saying, you don't have to go to the gym. I want to be thick. That's what I like. Anyway, let's let the ladies do their thing. You introduce them as they give us a little showcase.
Sure.
Let's move back so that we give them some spotlights.
Okay.
Now for you ladies, you just stand there. Please go ahead.
Okay, the first lady here to show us her work. Her name is Enala Daka. Yes. Yeah.
Nice. Enala, you can stand for us just there, then you'll be joined by your others.
Yes. And the second one is Judyngulube. Okay. And our third one is Angela Chipasha. Thank you. Our fourth one is Beatrice Mulauzi. Oh, thank you. Our last model. She's no other than Maria Tandy.
Beautiful ladies, beautiful. You will walk off set for us using the same tune, please. Thank you so much for coming through. You can use this way. Yes. Please just use this way. So Precious, I know you're also into film.
Yes.
How's that going? A female in film?
It's awesome, actually. I'm enjoying it like very much. You know, film is just nice because it makes you change in so many ways. All right.
Tell us about the latest project you have.
The
latest project
that you have.
The latest
project. Oh, great. The Masie movie. Actually, it's very interesting. And I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Like, you're going to love it, like, seriously. This Masie movie, it's about a lady who happens to be me, Towela. In the movie, I'm Towela, who experienced a very beautiful life, you know, with her husband, a very hardworking husband. And then later on, he dies in a car accident.
Oh, my.
You know?
This woman is an overall creative. Look at her face. She's a beautician as well. Tell us about that part of your life. Makeup.
Oh, great. I'm a beautician. And I'm sure a lot of people know me as the beautician Mama Z what?
Clearly.
Yes.
But
So,
you know, the interesting component about your beauty process is you're trying to transform people, girls or women who people tend to think cannot have makeup on their face or will not ever think to see them in a place of, from the rural part of Zambia, she's got makeup on, or value that, isn't it?
Yes.
Why that? Why take that route?
Anyway, I've got a lot of routes. So talking about that one, it's called her hot side. All right. That one, I have to discover a lady who has never felt how it feels to look beautiful. All right. And then when I discover that lady, maybe coming from maybe Chisamba or from any village, you know, coming to hustle, looking for, you know, ends meet. And then I have to make her how it feels to look beautiful.
Wow.
All right.
That's a very interesting journey. I think one of these days we're going to come through while we're doing that transformation. We'll be part of you to film it.
Yes, so that she can just feel important as well.
Very true.
Yes.
I appreciate you coming through. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Judy.
You're watching Woman360. Let's see our male crush for today. Today's show has been such a variety, such a cheer, and we've heard realistic stories that are sad but turned into very positive ones. We've been talking, how does a woman transition from divorce into a new relationship or a new marriage? And of course, Ornash came through telling us how eyebrows are important on a female's face. And we ended the show talking to Precious with the plus-size models, which gives me such joy because every woman is beautiful regardless. And I mean, beauty should be defined by you yourself. When you dress up, when you walk out, what you should feel is defined. And of course, we cannot leave Woman360 without showing you our male crush. And he is the one that actually winds up our show for today. Thank you so much for having joined us. Join us next week, Sunday, 21:30, for more information, of course, to celebrate, elevate, and inspire the woman. I'm Judy Ngulube.